Welcome back to the channel. Today we're out here at the First Tee of Greater Wilmington facility, so thank you to Brittany and her team for probably the most anticipated review of 2024, and that's L.A.B's new DF3 putter. I'm so cold that I feel like my jaw is shaking while I'm talking. Really excited for this one. Been kind of seeing prototypes for the last few months, seeing Adam Scott kind of messing around with it. Their big goal with this putter was the original DF, which I've got here in the center. Everybody calls it the spaceship looking one. They wanted to keep that same principle of it doesn't matter what stroke you have, how you hit the putter, it's not going to affect the putt. But make it look, as Sam said, a little less weird, because they think it looks incredible. And I will say, visually speaking, standing over it, they knocked it out of the park. It's a putter that I think will open the door for a lot of people who were hesitant to switch to L.A.B golf because of the visual, whether the mez looked too fangy or that this DF is just too big and they really didn't care for the length. There's a couple little hidden features on the new one that we're going to get into. Probably my favorite thing is the nickname for this putter is called the Gimme Getter. So I'm going to zoom in down here on the bottom of the putter. This ring, aside from distributing weight, actually serves a purpose of being able to pick up the golf ball. So when your buddies say it's good or you've reached your stroke limit capacity, you can just sit there and pop it up and pick that golf ball up. So it's a cool hidden little feature. They've cleaned up the lines on this putter a lot. So down here on the back, I'll get the putter side by side. You can actually see it's more of a rounded curved edge versus the original DF has this almost heart look to it, which a lot of people don't know that L.A.B's logo is actually the original DF putter. So they didn't want to lose, kind of that story going into this DF3 that they're still using that same principle that made them, get this far in the putter industry. But they they kind of needed to make a change to make it more appealing for all golfers. So as you can see with this side-by-side comparison, they did shrink it. However, one thing that's cool that L.A.B excels in is that it comes in 3 different weights. So you can have a standard, a light, or a heavy. And currently they are going to offer this putter in a counterbalance, a standard, and a long. Another cool thing about the L.A.B putters in general is the amount of customization you can do. So the DF3 is debuting in 3 colors that you'll be able to find on their website, or you can call in the shop and we'll be able to kind of walk you through that customization process, as well as about 11 alignment aids and 4 grip options. Now, one big change with this putter is the grip itself. Most of the time L.A.B comes with their press 1.5 grip, and as you've seen in some of our other videos, they've brought out a new pistol 2-degree press, which we'll show here in a second, which will be the stock grip. Now, this putter is going to start at $449 stock retail, meaning there's no customization, 69 lie angle, because it simplifies their building process. Now, when you go through that customization process, they do have 4 different shafts for this thing, from the TPT, which is specifically engineered for these putters, the L.A. Golf shaft, and the Acura, and then your steel shaft, as well as I believe they're adding in the stability, or it may already be updated on the website. So pretty excited for that. Also, one of the other big changes you can see down here on the bottom is where they've strategically placed the weight. So you've still got that same features on the DF3 as you do the big boy. It's just with them shrinking it. On the original, they've got the weight on this little toe and on the heel, and then on the bottom, where with the new putter, they've eliminated the toe, the heel, and they've spread it out more on the bottom. So really excited for that. And just to kind of reiterate, I think it's really, visually speaking, going to open the doors for you guys to be able to transition into a L.A.B putter without fighting the looks. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take the putter over the putting green, roll some putts with it, kind of hit some off the toe, off the heel, cut across some, push some, see how stable the face is. And then we're going to kind of show you guys the Mez Max versus the original DF versus the DF3 in size from a behind the golf ball standpoint. So we're going to head over and get that done for you guys. For today's review, we're going to be using the Mizuno RB Tour golf ball, mainly because with this urethane, it just feels great off of putters and wedges. As you can see, down here in the Gimme Getter, as L.A.B's nicknamed this putter, we've got the golf ball in there. So to show you just how simple it is, let's say if a buddy of yours says the putt's good, you pick it up and you walk off the green. It's really that simple. So we're going to hit some putts, get a general kind of feel for this putter, These greens, we're 45 degrees today, really windy, so the greens are a tad slow. So it'll be a good chance to hit some firmer putts and then a few lag putts just to kind of see how the putter feels. So we've got about a 9-foot putt here. It slides a little right to left. Like I said, it's a little shaggy just due to the weather. They've done a great job. As you can see, the greens are in beautiful shape. So we're just going to set up to this putt. And I think the first thing that strikes me is just visually standing like over the golf ball behind this putter is with the original one, I was never a fan of, and that's why I've kind of almost didn't pay attention to L.A.B at first because it was too distracting. Whereas I set up to this golf ball, because of the way they've simplified the shape, it's almost aiming itself. So confidently standing over this putt, I can tell where I'm aiming. And they've got this T line on top here. So you've got your face angle alignment and then the ball alignment. So the thing almost just kind of sits down and aims itself. So I'm going to set up. It looks like it's about a right edge putt here. Hit our first putt of the day. And I blew it through the break. Well, that's okay. For just to be noted, for this review, this is 69 degrees. I'm actually fitted for 68. So that does play a little bit of a role in this testing. But it's amazing that even though I pushed it and was off the toe, it stayed dead on line to where I thought I was. All right, so for this last one, I'm going to set it up off the dead heel of the tee and kind of push across it and see if it'll still hold its line. So it still tried to turn in there, and you can see, and hopefully the camera picked it up, how much I pushed across that ball. And if we actually look, I mean, that's not even a 3-inch gimme putt from 9 feet on a little bit of a slider. I think this is going to open the door for so many players of all skill levels. I think that's kind of the misconstrued thing, is you see so many of these putters on tour right now, which, to be noted, they are not paying any of these professionals on LPGA, Korn Ferry, L.A.B, PGA Tour to use these putters, which speaks volume. When you're not getting paid to use something, you're winning millions of dollars with it, and you're trusting your career with it, that says a lot about a product. For the first time, they've got a putter that I don't want to say isn't too out there, because it is definitely not traditional looking, but they've kind of brought it up to speed to 2024 with this shaping. One drill that I actually like people to practice is when you take 2 golf balls and hit them, they should still roll parallel with each other. So we're going to set up, a little bit closer here, about 5 feet, with both golf balls sitting side by side, and just kind of see how striking the total face actually allows this putter to work. So we're just going to set up and try to strike both golf balls with a square face. And you can see they actually ran parallel to each other and rolled side by side, so it just kind of speaks volume to how stable this face is. And I think that's the one thing compared to the Mez, which I've played, a fair amount of golf with for these reviews. The Mez is almost a little bit acoustically louder, and even though there isn't any torque presence when you do toe it, you can definitely feel it more, where with this putter, the toe and heel strike, kind of like the OG DF, you basically still feel like you strike it in the center of the face. So really nice job from the team at L.A.B. I'm going to give this putter a 10 out of 10. I like the all black look. Like I said, if I were to design one, I'm a big pink guy for our 4Angie Foundation. So I would probably do one in pink, but really excited to just get my hands on this. It's been a very long anticipated wait of when's L.A.B's next putter coming out. So I'm going to set up to a long lag putt uphill and just kind of see how close we can get these. We're going to try to set up to about a 60-foot putt here, going uphill, downwind, so kind of a difficult putt that we are going to find ourselves in, and just kind of see what this putter is all about. All right, so that's probably about 70 feet actually. All right, so I may have misjudged this. This is more like 70 feet, so if we're in a tournament round of golf or just a round of golf with our buddies, maybe we hit it up the flagstick and spun it down the hill, or we just short clubbed ourselves. One thing you can see is on this greens, the lines from the mowers actually kind of help us read this putt a little bit. Since the greens are a little slower, we're going to be able to kind of speed the pace up. And what typically happens with most putters is when you start to increase acceleration, the putter tends to twist, and your hands are responsible for controlling that torque. And that's the cool thing with L.A.B is you don't have to worry about that, because the putter is going to stay so stable that's one less thing to think about. So you can set up to a putt like this with confidence, make any stroke regardless if it looks good on TV or if it looks like you've never putted before. It's not going to affect how this putter reacts when it strikes the golf ball. So we're going to hit these putts. Like I said, we're about 70 feet and just see if we can get them close and see how the putter does. So a little short on the left. I'd say that's pretty good. So going uphill, first putt, I just didn't do a good enough job judging the pace. Made, as you can see, 2 nice recovery putts after that. So I would say being able to commit to the putt, especially after getting a feel for it, I didn't even worry about the line. And I think once with golfers in general, we use this too much, our brain. We get overwhelmed. And one thing that I find with these putters, no matter which one I've reviewed, is I'm not having to think about the motion that I'm doing. I'm just trying to think of the speed and the line. So really excited to kind of see the performance and to see how well they track, because at 70 feet, regardless if people want to admit it or not, it's a complete guess. And being able to eliminate the kind of possibility of missing your line because something that the putter face is doing when it's twisting, it just speaks volume. So one of the last things I want to show you guys today is just the overall size comparison and also kind of the story of L.A.B. We've got the original DF, which is where we started. Like I mentioned in the earlier tech talk, this is actually their logo, which is pretty cool. I always call this the spaceship putter just because I've got pretty big hands and you can see this thing fills up my hand pretty easily. So this is where the company started. Their next kind of big revolution was Mez and Mez Max, which has taken the tour by storm the last 2 years. Again, not everybody likes the wing look, and that's okay because this putter has won so much money, it speaks for itself. And now, going into the next chapter of L.A.B., which I believe is the most important chapter now that you are having the success that you are, is with the DF3 making a modern classic putter that doesn't look too crazy. And like I said, I think this is the kind of icebreaker for a lot of players who are struggling to get into the L.A.B technology. This is going to be the one to make you switch. So we're going to do a little bit of an overview, show you side-by-side comparison behind the golf ball, just so you can kind of see it. I know it's hard from a computer, but it's going to be really easily to tell. All right, so we're going to start with the new DF3, and this is just right behind the golf ball. Like I said earlier, just kind of aims itself. And then sitting side by side now is the original DF. So we're going to slide it behind the golf ball, and you can just see how big that footprint is. I'll put the DF3 in front, and you can just tell. I mean, I don't know the exact percentage, but I would say it's at least 30 to 40% smaller. It's that big of a difference. And then we're going to bring in the Mez Max here, because this is the putter that you see Adam Scott and Lucas Glover using, and you can see that the Mez Max has more of that wing look, does take up a large portion of the golf ball, more similar to what DF3 is. So I would say if a local shop does not have one of these, just imagine the Mez Max with a little bit bigger back, and then all three sitting side by side in shape from smallest to largest. So overall, really excited. I think we're going to see L.A.B for the second year in a row be the #1 fit putter in our shop, because from a price point perspective, they're hitting the custom putter world right where it needs to be hit. Overall, after spending some time with it this morning, it's just a great putter. So if you haven't already, be sure, if you want to keep seeing more of these videos and our podcasts, like and subscribe, and then in the right corner, turn on those push bell notifications, and we'll catch you on the next one.